Hello everyone and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the traction control system, or easily TCS. So traction control system monitors your tires to prevent spinning. You can actually have an example right here. So direct translation from German is drive slippage reduction. So let's say we're putting the power down. In this situation, the tires would, let's say, start to spin if you hit the throttle, but the TCS would kind of stop them at the same time. So the TCS would probably reduce the engine power to prevent the spin of the tires, like in this example. So let's say we're coming out of the corner. Actually, a little bit of trail braking, the back got a little bit loose. We're using traction control 5, and as you can see, as soon as I started putting the throttle down, it kind of moved the traction control system up, so you can actually see that little red indicator that kind of shows when the traction control system is activated. Another example would be when you try to initiate the slide while drifting. So for example, you hard brake and then you turn the wheel very hard, and then you try to put the power down as soon as you can to initiate a slide. TCS would minimize that, but as you can see here, traction control system is quite useful when it comes to starting a race or a car, or just a standing start. So be careful, be very careful on how you put your power down if you don't have any traction control on. But I would probably suggest running 1 or 2 here. As you can see, 2 was the best option at this point, but there are some other car classes, there are some other cars where just 1 is more than enough. But in this example, we are running a heavy Aston Martin, so it's kind of very heavy car, also has a lot of power. But as you can see at this point, comparing traction control 0 to traction control 5 and even 2 at this point, so it proved to me from running this exact car that traction control 5 was quite useful. Of course, some might say it wasn't exactly the same situation, but I did a couple of runs here, so maybe I've done like a 10 laps on each thing. So it proved to me that traction control 0 was the fastest, but I had the most confidence running traction control 5. But in this case, we can actually see the differences between car classes or even weight classes. So at this point, 0 proved to be the best because I had more control of the car, but the car didn't have that much power so it could slip. So at this point, traction control 5 was the slowest option. And also I tried to do a slipstream run, so just driving in the straight line, not thinking too much about the other things that are going around on the track, just simply straight line speed. Of course, I use this challenge to kind of prove myself that it might be the same or it might be slightly different. So as you can see, on the left hand side 0, in the middle 2, and on the right it's 5. So we are kind of trying to use the same lines and use the same amount of slipstream at each time, and I have to say the wind was the same, so we didn't have any differences with the wind. And we're gonna cross the finish line very soon here. The runs were slightly different, but I achieved a slightly slower result while running traction control 5. So 0 and 2 were kind of the same, but the traction control 5 slightly slower. It's only 1 km/h, so I don't think it was because of the traction control. It might had something to do with just the amount of slipstream that I got, but it was the slowest option. So in the slipstream, it's not very useful, or in the straight line, the traction control 5 is not useful. It's you can literally get away without it. But in this scenario, I was driving around on Brands Hatch for this daily race C, and I noticed a couple of things. So, for example, traction control 5 is quite useful when you're going out of slower turns, but also on the left hand side you can actually see that traction control 2 does the same amount of work, but it's at the same time faster. So I was even faster than my result without the traction control on. So the ghost here is without the traction control, and it's for me the best and the fastest option out there. But I just wanted to see how much of that difference is this gonna be. So when I was running, of course, on lower straights, on something that didn't need that much, let's say, grip reduction, or I didn't get too much wheel spin, traction control 5 and 2 were kind of the same. But when I got onto the curbs, and when I got onto, let's say, surfaces that weren't really flat, I could actually see a lot of difference. It didn't really mean what kind of lines did I take, or just it was a clear difference. So when you're running on a rough surface, the traction control 5 is gonna be a lot slower. But in the end, I had a conclusion. So just use 1 or 2 if needed. So never ever use traction control 5, and please don't use traction control on the straights. So it's just the slowest option. So these are my recommendations, but this is also my conclusion. 1 or 2 with most of the classes is just about enough. You won't need more. But if you think, okay, this car might be a little bit too aggressive, kind of getting too much wheel spin, and I might need something more, I would probably go to 3 or maybe 4, but never 5, and never use it on the straights. So guys, yeah, please, if you like this video, please hit that like button, and you might even want to subscribe to my channel. Once again, thank you very much for watching this, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.